comfortably zoned with the Zigzag Man in Alameda, California, pushing on the doors of life marked pull and fighting the unholy trinity as we go. Big business, organized religion, and government. I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zigzag Man, in Alameda, California, across the bay from San Francisco, North Bay area in San Francisco. And I'm joined by a returnee to these airways, terrific guy, one of my mainstays in Alameda. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jason Buckley, bringing him back. How you doing, Jason?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me back, and happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I was telling Jason off the air that I really, at one time or another, didn't think, 69, I'd ever make 69 years old, and the idea is to make it and be old without being elderly, which I strive for, and so far so good.
Hey, you don't look a day over 50.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Jason. You're a good liar, and that makes you a good candidate for these airways. But you're very nice to say that, and to be honest with you, I don't feel a day older than 50, 55 maybe, but I don't really feel much different than I felt in my 30s. I'm active, and I eat to live. I don't live to eat, and that makes a difference in the way I can get around. So, in any event, let's get on to catch everybody up. When we talked about a year ago, and it was about a year ago in November, you and Andrea and Hackenbach,
Angela.
I hope Angela Hackabout, were starting something called the Alameda Renters Coalition, and you spoke, both of you, so eloquently on the cause, and I didn't realize it until then that there was an incredible rental problem in Alameda, all of Northern California, but for one reason or another, Alameda in particular, and so catch us up as to why it was Alameda in particular, and what you did, and how a year's worth of work ended up this past week in City Hall in a protest, and it was all over the newspapers, all over the television, and I don't know if it was all over the television and newspapers for the right reasons. So we're going to talk about that. Start from the beginning, Jason.
Okay, well, you've got Oakland and San Francisco and Berkeley, and to a lesser extent San Leandro and Hayward. You've got cities surrounding us that have rent control, and also you've got a lot of high-paid tech people who are driving up the prices, the rent prices, all throughout the area. They're making a lot of money. They want to live in San Francisco. They're pushing people out to Oakland. Oakland's pushing people out to Alameda. And Alameda's a nice little sleepy bedroom community. Everybody wants to live here. A lot of people, it was just off their radar, but now that there's this housing crunch, no place is safe. And, given that landlords here pretty much have had a history of being able to do whatever they wanted, they're like, we're going to raise it to market rates, and why shouldn't we? Because liberty. How dare you tell us what we can do?
Right, we'll control
I'm sorry,
but it isn't just the raising of the rates that irks me. It is the indiscriminate evictions, no-cause evictions, in order that they bring in new tenants. You can only raise the rates by so much, so they're greedy enough to just indiscriminately evict folks for and bring in new tenants at 4 times the amount of money that they would have raised, 4 times the increase in rent that they would have gotten had they done it in the traditional way. And it's the blatant disrespect for humanity by these fuckers that have it all. And
indeed, but they're going to tell people like us, how dare you tell us how we can make money on our property? And like they treat it like it's any other business, but it's the business of housing people. And when they stop looking at your tenants as people and seeing them as just another source of income, therein lies the problem. And they do it because they can. They've been doing this because they can. And the local government, by their inaction, has pretty much given them the A-OK up until recently. And it's taken, a solid year of tenants going to city council and making demands and telling their stories. And, city council doesn't want to have to do extra work. They want business as usual. They want their job. For one, the job pays crap. They get paid about $25 a meeting. So, they don't want to have to, put in extra hours and stuff. But, no, we've made it so that they cannot avoid the problem anymore. They can't just say, oh, we're looking into it. Oh, we're collecting data. Oh, yeah, no, we really drove the message home. We demanded this meeting, this special single-issue meeting to happen, unprecedented here, and we got it.
You got it, and there was hundreds of people showed up. People weren't prepared. The landlord showed up first. They got the good seating. It just became... Oh,
they got all the seating. They, and, there were reports. We had one member who showed up at 5 and was told that the council chamber wasn't open yet, it was full of landlords. Another one of our members saw somebody she knew in there, and she told them, oh, yeah, no, this new company I'm working for wanted me to come just sit. So, yeah, no. And I've also heard, some of the folks on social media saying like, well, that's just what the renters were going to do, and they're just mad that the landlords beat them to it, and blah, 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 blah. That's neither here nor there because, city council was running this meeting. It was demanded by tenants, and, they probably could have done a better job trying to have equal representation in the room instead of just letting it be first come, first serve. But, like I said, that's neither here nor there because after about an hour of mostly like about 25 to 4 landlords telling their stories to about 4 tenants, the tenants had enough. They came over from the overflow rooms in the library and down the hall, and they shouted, and they made some noise, and we got our voices heard.
Got your voices heard, and it opened up another can of worms, and that is something that's almost epidemic in this country is police brutality. And there's been some accusations. I saw the film. I did a show earlier in the week with the videographer who just happened to be there and did a beautiful job of capturing what appears to be some real overreaction by some cops who brutally beat the crap out of, just drove the face of a protester into the who allegedly interfered with the police, kind of blocked the cops' way. But the way, you just say, hey, you're under arrest. You can't do that to a cop. These cops worked in unison and just jumped on this person and absolutely brutalized them and then arrested them. That doesn't have to happen. And it was embarrassing that it happened in a town that I consider to be a hometown. Alameda's got a very Mayberry reputation, and that being said, I don't think the APD
are necessarily prepared for civil unrest. I don't think anybody was prepared for civil unrest. And,
right.
They should have been, because they've been pretty much, seeing the situation get worse and worse as people are getting pushed out of the city. But what? Remember Occupy Oakland? A couple years back.
I was heavily involved in that.
Oh yeah, and what happened with that was, as soon as it became about police brutality, it stopped becoming about the issues, and it became all police brutality all the time. And I mean, we don't want to see that happen. We want to keep focused on the plight of renters in this city. So, there's definitely, stuff going on with that. But yeah, no, I mean, what they say, if it bleeds, it leads. And so a lot of the media was focused on that. But, we got to get the media focused back on the fact that, renters are getting a really raw deal in this city.
We got attention for the wrong reasons. Let's talk about what the city council offered, in a way, a moratorium. Is it a 60-day moratorium?
It's a 65-day moratorium that, for one, I'd like to thank mainly Trish Spencer for keeping the proceedings going. I know, several of the council members were ready to shut it down right then and there, but, she realized that, the frustration in the hallway was legit. I mean, we were not having our voices heard, and she kept it rolling. And, they went until 1:30 in the morning, and they did pass a moratorium that doesn't go far enough, but it's something, and it's unprecedented. I mean, they basically kept people from getting evicted, no fault evicted during the holidays, which really is the human thing to do. I mean, anybody who is against that, any landlord who could not deal with waiting 2 months to kick grandma out during Christmas is an asshole. So yeah, they did that. They also, you can't get, for the next 65 days, a rent increase over 8%. Unfortunately, what we're seeing now is already there are landlords who are working around that, because, I mean, that's a big loophole. So they're saying, okay, in 90 days you're going to get hit with a 10% rent increase, and then, 6 months after that it's going to go up another couple $100, and, by the time that, a year down the line, it's a 22% increase.
Can they raise rents more than once a year?
They can do whatever they want. There's nothing stopping them right now. I mean, and, they're all saying, landlord after landlord, let the RAC do its job, the Rent Review Advisory Committee. The problem is the RAC has no teeth. It's a mediation body that, for the most part, has just been rubber stamping annual 10% increases. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who's getting an annual 10% raise. I mean, if you're lucky, you're getting a cost of living bump that's somewhere along the CPI, which right now is hovering about 1.5%.
Right. So that doesn't include the rental increases.
Right.
And yeah, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. Now, is in the interim, in the 65 days, are there going to be negotiations? Are there attempts to make it permanent rent control?
Well, the city's not going to do rent control. I mean, they've already said they're not going to do rent control. So, I mean, renters just need to keep pushing. I mean, because, a week ago, we didn't have the votes for any kind of moratorium. And, we demanded it, and we got it. So, I mean, we need to be active. We need to be out there. We need to be at city council. We need to be loud, and we need to not back down until we get what we need to stay in our community.
What's the next step?
That 65 days is going to go quick, and we got Thanksgiving, and we got, the winter holidays all in the middle of that, and, they can extend it or not at that point, so we're going to need to keep pushing, and, we're working on next steps as we speak.
Okay.
There are definitely going to be announcements, official announcements from Alameda Renters Coalition coming up.
Well, are you still with me, Jason?
I sure am.
Oh, good. I can tell you just from walking around town, sitting in coffee shops, hearing what the people are saying, the landlords don't like it. You made it.
Oh, no, of course not. They've been high on the hog for decades.
Right, and they're just not used to any sort of control along those lines, and they're looking at each other, over coffee, and saying, "Where can it go from here?" They're at least open to the fact that things aren't going to be ever going to go back and be the same.
Oh yeah, but I got to hand it to them. They really put on a good show. I mean, the guys, the really egregious ones didn't get up and defend themselves, but behind the scenes, they got every sympathetic, older, put upon, disabled, had a heart attack, mom and pop landlord who never raises the rent, never does anything, and how this is going to hurt them. And of course it's not going to hurt them. If they're not raising the rent, then rent control isn't going to hurt them. So they basically got used by the people, the very people who are like the poster boys for rent control.
Right.
Well, the guy who paints swirls on houses, you know who I'm talking about. He didn't get up and speak. He had nothing
to say. He would stutter. I mean, it would just be, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, this guy, when we were having supposedly friendly negotiations between renters and landlords about a year and a half ago, he was saying that you shouldn't even be able to go to the rack with an increase under 10%. I said, why not chain that to the CPI? And he interrupts me, takes the floor from me, yelling, "That's rent control, that's rent control." It's like, dude, first of all, take a pill. Second of all, no. It's already a toothless mediation body, and you're going to try to, keep people from that just because you don't want to defend your shitty practices?
You're welcome to mention his name.
Farhad Mateen.
Okay, that's all. As long as we know. Should be out there, and It
is, and I mean, he's getting it on social media big time. I mean, I want him to be the poster boy for rent control in this town.
Yeah. And there, Gallagher and Young, there's a whole bunch of Gallagher and Lindsay, whatever it is. There's a whole bunch of them in this town that really control the major rentals. And
it is, though. It's as tempting it is to get mad at these guys. I mean, they are just doing what they're conditioned to do by the capitalist system. And honestly, our fight shouldn't even be with them. We should be just taking this. I mean, we don't even need to engage them at this point. Our fight is with City Council to do the right thing. They're going to put on their show. We're going to put on ours, and ours is going to win because we got the people behind us.
Yay. What else you got to say? What about the unholy trinity really bothers you? With me, the unholy trinity is big business, government, and organized religion working together. What sticks in your craw going around the track? What is it, besides the rental thing, which is current and in your mind you put so much of it, but what do you see that is just so wrong in this world that that should be just corrected?
I think just the general acceptance nowadays of like this Ayn Rand freaking I got mine, fuck you attitude. I mean, it's basically it's sociopathy, and but no, now it's actually people consider this to be a legitimate ideology. Like, markets, they'll take care of it. Hey, if you can't survive, just get another job. Just, if you're failing, it's on you. You're a failure. It's like, no, they're stacking the decks against regular people, and they're convincing regular people that, it's their own fault. And no, I mean, we need
born
to
on third base with a silver spoon in your mouth. That there are people, and they're controlling the wealth. That's what's scary.
Exactly. But if you're even talking about that, you're a socialist. You want to take my money away at gunpoint. And, I mean, the rhetoric from these people is just insane, and the fact that it's become accepted. Like, I mean, we should be laughing at these people. Nobody should be taking them seriously. It's like, are you kidding? Are you like 12 years old and you just, your parents just took away your toys? But no, they're being taken seriously. I mean, it's I don't know, man. The world is getting insane.
And on top of that, elections are oftentimes bought instead of won. And that might change with Bernie Sanders. I'd like to see it become grassroots like it was with the aforementioned Mayor Trish Spencer, who ran a grassroots campaign and won. Surprised a lot of people because she didn't take money from unions and big business. And I think Bernie is along the same way, where he has the people's support as opposed to Hillary, who has become a Republican and basically is indebted to big business.
Well, she hasn't become a Republican. She got her start campaigning for Goldwater. But I've got my hopes set on Bernie. I'm going to vote in my first ever primary. I mean, I've been undeclared for all these years, and I'm going to register as a Democrat just so that I could, vote for this guy.
Yeah, he's very special. He talks good common sense, and one of the things I like about him, I don't mind saying because I'm somewhat of a wake and baker myself, he's for the legalization of marijuana, and I'm for the decriminalization of marijuana as opposed to just the legalization. But if they decriminalize it if they legalize it, they have to control it. And I'm kind of against the government getting a piece of the action after all these years, after imprisoning people for smoking.
Well, not to mention having to go to the liquor store and buying a pack of Marlboro blunts, right? I mean,
right.
Once the tobacco companies get their filthy hands on it, it's just going to go downhill from there.
Exactly. So I would be fine if they just decriminalized it, but it looks to me like there's a swelling. The whole country is just state by state. It's becoming something that will be commonplace within 5 years, and that's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, and it looks like Colorado and Washington State are just, rolling in the extra tax dollars.
Absolutely, and I'm sure California is too from the medical marijuana thing, because you don't really have to be in. There's a lot of states that have medical marijuana. They're pretty lenient as to what's medical marijuana, how you can get medical marijuana in California. You don't really have to have MS. You don't have to have severe disability. You could have what I have, which is floating anxiety and trouble sleeping, and they were happy to give me a recommendation, and I'm able to buy it legally. And I don't know if that's good or bad. But,
well, I hear it's damn near impossible to get in New Jersey. Like really? they've got it. They have medical marijuana, but boy, good luck trying to get a card.
Right, what you have to prove to them. But you know what? People in California have always been ahead of the game a little bit when it comes to that. They realize that it's medicine for the mind as well as for the body, and that's very important. So for me, it helps. It's I didn't start smoking for medical reasons, but something agreed with me, and I knew what I was doing was medicinal without being able to describe it as that. felt
Yeah,
better.
and frankly, even if it was just straight up an intoxicant, I mean, like, you know, nobody's died from it. Nobody, and, you know, people don't wrap their cars around trees. I mean, you know, it's such a safer intoxicant than alcohol.
And it doesn't induce alcohol. Frankly, there are happy drunks, but there are more unhappy drunks than happy drunks. Alcohol makes people unhappy for the most part. Marijuana puts people to sleep. You take a nap. You watch the colors for a while. You enjoy a good meal, and you mellow out and listen to some music, and that's it. But,
yeah, you don't wake up the next morning throwing up. Yeah, no, it's
right.
It's pretty benign.
But to be perfectly candid, what's keeping it from being legal are the lobbyists from the alcohol company, the timber company, the cotton company, right?
And don't forget the private prison, the private prisons. They want to keep people.
They want in prisons. And you know what? In this country, judges own stakes in some of these prisons, and a lot of them. That's craziness. Where judges
gay capitalism, right?
Right. That is beyond belief to me that it could have happened. You think, how does the system get this way? What started it? What started
the rich have bought it. That's, I mean,
yeah.
You know,
But what do you think, Jason, started the basic disrespect for authority, for the system as it was? The way I see it, I think it goes back before the Kennedy assassination and all the lies and the cover-up about that. I think it goes back to FDR and Pearl Harbor.
The business plot?
Well, the idea to get us into the war, right?
There was the whole, you know, neo-fascist, or, well, not neo at the time, the whole American fascist movement. I mean, Henry Ford and other industrialists had plans to stage a military coup against FDR just because they were against the New Deal. I mean, like, there's always been that level of vitriol against any politician who's tried to do anything for the people, you know, by the wealthy.
Right. The Kennedy, when you say the wealthy, the Kennedys, the Bushes, the Rockefellers, these people, and it's a hierarchy that they can't defeat us. Right. The power that these people have. And it might as well be the Klan. It's just 2 generations later with the Kochs. They are so behind times. They were, so conservative, it's beyond belief. Tea Party
It's not
crazy.
even conservative. I mean, it is literally, they're just sociopaths. They have no care about civilized society. They care about themselves. And anything, you know, forcing them to contribute to society, they feel is oppressing them. And it's bullshit. I mean, they are spoiled children. And they have a national mouthpiece, and it's ridiculous.
Right. The national mouthpiece seems to be Fox News, which unbelievably is the most popular news network in
you know, they asked me, they called my landline the night after the City Hall incident and asked if they could use my footage. I asked, wait, is this a local Fox affiliate or is this Fox News Channel? They said, this is Fox News Channel. I said, you can go fuck yourselves. And I hung up on them. There was no way. Could you imagine if Bill O'Reilly had his hands on that? It's like, you know, look at these socialists in the hallway. Blah, 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 blah. You know.
Right.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to give it to them. But the problem with them is they have driven. I'm sorry, you cutting out?
No, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, no, the problem is Fox has driven it so far to the right that, you know, the people that they're calling the liberal media are barely even centrist. Right,
absolutely. And by the way, Obama's a Republican too. Anybody he's to make the deal with Monsanto that he made. He's still wiretapping. He's still waterboarding on one level or another. They don't call
Eisenhower was more liberal than he is.
Right, which is kind of scary. And Clinton is right there. The Clintons have become multimillionaires, and it's pretty hard to. Apparently, when you gain that kind of bucks, and you're insulated, and you never carry cash, and you have people do things for you, I guess it changes you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see Clinton being that way. I didn't see Obama being that way. And maybe the system does it. But the system...
I mean, who knows? Maybe Bernie's going to get in that seat, and then all the Illuminati are going to friggin' circle him and be like, all right, here you are. Now here's the real deal, motherfucker. And, you know, I mean, like, I've lost faith in the entire system, honestly.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. That's for damn sure. Okay.
Yep. I mean, the cynic in me just worries that he's just going to disappoint me like the rest. But you know, I gotta at least have some kind of hope.
Gotta have hope. That's for sure.
Yep.
I'm looking as we speak. I'm looking at a picture. Hillary Clinton on the internet proposes loosening the ban, loosening the restrictions on marijuana. What am I looking at here? Let me press a little button.
Oh, she's just following the polls. She'll say whatever
to
whoever if she thinks it's going to bump
marijuana. He's doing just what she is doing, proposing just what Bernie proposed a week ago. Anything he says is fine with her. So my thinking is, if she really cared about the Democratic Party, he has no baggage. She's got a ton of baggage, a ton of it, and it isn't even a year to go, and they haven't begun to dig up stuff on her, where Bernie has no baggage. If she really cared and she believes everything he says, why not just say, you know, Bernie, you take this one, I'll take the next one. That would be an idyllic world. I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Okay, but we can dream, right?
Indeed.
All right. Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on. Thanks for clearing up the renters thing.
All right, thanks for having me.
Of your time, and come back more often.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. I'm going to end the show the same way I do most of them. I'm going to implore you, Jason, and everybody out there, keep your dreams wet, keep your humor dry, keep your children out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics that wear dresses, and everything will be fine. Your whole lives will change. Listen to me. I'm an old man. I know stuff. Hey, thanks, Jason.
Hi, thanks, Ralph.
All right, talk soon. Adios, muchachos and muchachas.